What's going on, everybody? C4 here. Welcome back to the Madden 20 Realistic Rebuild Series. Today, we're going to be taking a look and go through 10 seasons with the Cincinnati Bengals. Now, there's a dilemma when you start doing rebuilds and you're continuing to do rebuilds this late in the football season, because then it comes down to, am I going to use updated rosters? Am I going to make all the free agency moves? How do we start it? I think every realistic rebuild from here on out, we got the Ravens, Bears, Seahawks, Jets, Redskins, Chiefs, Lions, Steelers, Dolphins, Panthers, Titans, Bucks, Cowboys, Bengals, Saints, Colts, Falcons, Giants, Rams, Chargers, Vikings, Packers. We got a lot of teams to roll on up until Madden 21. Each one's going to be a little bit different. Everything's going to have a theme. And today for the Bengals, we decided not to add in their free agents, because if we do too many of these rebuilds now where you add the free agents, it's gonna kind of make it, I don't know. It's too Madden 21. Say I want this. I want to have all the big free agent moves taking effect for my Madden 21 rebuild. I don't want to try to recreate something here, and you can never get the contracts realistic and all that stuff. So obviously for certain teams, like I'm thinking right now, if I do the Miami Dolphins, I'm probably gonna want to put Byron Jones on the team, because he's not always a free agent. He's usually not a free agent. That's a really big player. But in different cases, you look at the Bengals, they've kind of spent a lot of money in free agency. They brought in Von Bell. They got DJ Reader on the defensive line. But is that enough for me to really add them in to this rebuild? Not really. Like, those aren't massive game-changing players. So what we're doing instead is we're going to essentially, this is going to be a 4-year rebuild right at the rip, because I started right at the end of the 2019 season to secure that #1 overall pick with the Bengals, because there's a player that they're going to be selecting, and there's a player that we definitely want to be the face of this rebuild, and he is a man, Joe Exotic, out of LSU. So I decided, does that make sense to you guys, though? Obviously, we'll get this early in the video so you guys can truly leave your feedback, but I feel like that makes sense, right? If I found a way to, we got, 15 teams or something like that left, if I just updated all the rosters with the current free agency moves, that's like I'm doing Madden 21 rebuilds this early. So I feel like I still want a little bit of wiggle room to do different things for each rebuild. Like I said, some teams we're gonna when we do the Chargers rebuild, I'm probably gonna move on for Phillip Rivers right off the rip, and we'll go with Tyrod and see what happens. But that's not gonna be the case for every single rebuild. It's gonna be a team by team basis, and I'm gonna try to make the most important decision for that team. And for this Bengals rebuild, it was not adding some of their, from a Madden standpoint, okay free agency signings. It was playing and simming up the first year right at the rip to ensure that #1 overall pick. So really, at this point, I'm just going to get to the draft, and we'll view the team and assess the team once we get ready for year 2. I will say, though, one thing I will try to do is that when we get to these free agency periods in our rebuilds, if the player has signed for another team, I am going to let them walk. So for here, we got Eifert. We had a franchise tag, AJ Green. Eifert's gone. Denard's gone. Andrew Billings is gone. Nick Vigil's gone. I don't think they've re-signed any of these players. And looking at our actual, do any of these guys, do we really want them back? It's not good. That's good for our team. We're not going to be losing a lot of talent. But we made sure we kept AJ Green on the roster. Better free agency, oddly enough, I'm gonna bring in their big names. DJ Reader's there, and there's an awful bid. I was like, okay, that makes sense. Mackenzie Alexander, we're gonna go with him instead of getting both him and Trey Waynes, because he has a scheme bid, and Von Bell is there. So we're gonna put in bids on really the 3. You throw in Trey Waynes, 3 of the 4 big real life Bengals moves, and then also we're throwing a little bit of offer here on Darren Lee and moving to left outside linebacker. Here's what it's all about. Pick 1 of the 2020 draft, and the Cincinnati Bengals have selected Joe Burrow, quarterback from LSU. Almost a scheme fit. #5 in true value, picked at #1. That's about where I feel like he is in the NFL draft, looking like a real dangerous quarterback. Taking a look at our draft class, here's how it shaped up after the selection of Joe Burrow. In the second round, we got Jalen Johnson, the corner, hidden dev out of Utah, which is exactly kind of what we needed here to bring another outside corner in to pair with William Jackson, as Mackenzie Alexander is a nickel slot type. At right outside linebacker, we got Josh Uche, linebacker, edge, whatever you want to call it, from Michigan, 69 with a hidden dev trait. Should be a prime candidate to start. We got Troy Dye, middle linebacking depth in the 4th round. Carter Coughlin, linebacking depth in the 5th round. They just need a lot of linebackers. Ross Blacklock in the 6th, and we traded out in the 7th round to acquire a pick in 2021. All right, so here we get into year 2 for the Cincinnati Bengals after a draft that hopefully follows and mirrors somewhat happens in real life, as Joe Burrow is our new starter. There's no one that's actually going to trade for Andy Dalton. In real life, I actually think Andy Dalton is worth trading for if you're desperate need for quarterback, but for Madden, no one wants him. So we're going to free up $17.5 million of salary cap. They move on from him. Running backs, we got Mixon and Bernard, A.J. Green, Tyler Boyd, and Auden Tate, as well as we have John Ross in the slot. He's surprisingly our highest graded slot wide receiver outside of Tyler Boyd, who we actually kind of want Boyd on the outside as well. We're going to push Drew Sample to be the starting tight end to go with youth. Our offensive line is still a major red flag. Looking at the roster, I just hope Williams will develop, but I hope Billy Price can develop as well, so that we only really have to worry about the right-hand side of the O-line. Defensively, we shuffled a couple things around, as per usual, what we like to do in a Madden rebuild with the Bengals. I like taking Carlos Dunlap. I think he's a good interior subset pass rusher. For a depth chart standpoint, we're going to move him into D-tackle with Atkins so that we can have Lawson and Sam Hubbard, who somehow has a superstar dev trait, which he got Super Bowl week, which he got during, I guess in real life, if Madden was real life, Hubbard would have a superstar dev, which is kind of weird. But anyways, he's going to be a defensive end. We got William Jackson, Jalen Johnson on the outside. Mackenzie Alexander, our lone free agency signing, will be our starting nickel. Bates is really good. Williams is solid. Our linebacker core is really young. I hope these guys can grow and develop together. Uche, Pratt, and Dye all could be future long-term starters at linebacker. And our linebackers for the majority of this rebuild. So I am pretty happy, pretty satisfied with where this team is at. And I am fairly confident with Joe Burrow at the helm, we will not be at worst the worst team in the National Football League here in year 2. Maybe one of the most. I think we've done, 2 Bengal rebuilds so far. This is the third one, the first realistic. Drew Sample is like the most dev-traded tight end I have ever seen, as we've, in just 2 games, got to go from normal to a star dev development. So as we come out of our bye here in year 2, we're 3-1-1 with a brand new quarterback. I'm starting to get a feeling that, I am just, at this point, realistic or not, never going to re-sign a lineman. This is one of the worst O-lines we've ever had in a rebuild, and we're winning a lot of games. I don't know if that's going to be a trend that's going to continue. All I'm saying is I feel like there's something pretty suspicious going on here. But we are second in the AFC North, which is really good, even though it's a super competitive AFC North. Jesus Christ. Contracts. So what do we got? First up, we got Joe Mixon. Absolutely want Joe Mixon here. Superstar dev running back. We have a whole lot of salary cap as well. So I'm not going to be too hesitant with some of these contracts. I think William Jackson, 3-year deal, that's actually fairly reasonable. He's going to be on the downswing when that contract ends. Carl Lawson, we're going to give him a 4-year deal, keep him until he's 29. All these guys want to get paid a lot more money. John Ross, hey, come on, there we go. We got John Ross locked up, ladies and gentlemen. The question comes with A.J. Green. That's an interesting one because he's kind of hindering the development. I feel like with John Ross, Tyler Boyd, and Auden Tate, we could have 3 good young wide receivers that will grow. And then you got a 32-year-old A.J. Green here, who's kind of stunting the growth, the long-term growth. And in real terms, we're not really there for a Super Bowl just yet. I mean, who knows with the way this season's going, but maybe we let A.J. Green bounce and go to a contender right now so we can win a ring before he hangs it up. But I will tell you right now, we'll wait and see with A.J. Green, but Joe Mixon, William Jackson, and Carl Lawson, absolutely, we're going to be getting brand new deals. End of year 2, the first year of the Joe Burrow era, and general managers coming to our meeting. Not saying we're fired. There's like, congrats with the worst offensive line in the league. You found a way to make the playoffs. It's not a pretty record. It's 9-6-1. 3 teams from the North made it. The Steelers, one of the top seeds. Browns, pretty damn good. Bengals, we hung on there, baby. So looking at our dev traits, everything that's kind of unlocked. Joe Burrow came out as a superstar dev, which is insane. We've kind of flexed around our wide receivers just a little bit. Put A.J. Green in the slot just to help him out. Yeah, we got the dev trait for Drew Sample, who's now up to a 77. Should be a long-term option at tight end for us. When you flip to the defense, Jalen Johnson came out with a star dev. Josh Uche came out with a star dev. We're slowly making Troy Dye into a scheme fit. Things are trending on the right direction here for the Cincinnati Bengals. Looking at our regular season stats, Joe Burrow, pretty respectable numbers, I guess, for a rookie. 3,700 yards, 28 touchdowns to 6 picks. Joe Mixon had an insane year, though. Almost 1,700 rushing yards, 17 rushing touchdowns. You throw in the receiving numbers, 280 yards, almost 300. This guy's 2,000 yards from scrimmage, right around there. And almost unreal. No dominant receiver. Sample had 9 touchdowns. Tate had a solid year. A.J. Green, okay. Tyler Boyd, okay. John Ross, pretty good. Defensive numbers, we get 110 tackles from Jermaine Pratt, 5 TFLs, 2 picks, over 100 tackles for the rookie Jalen Johnson, 8 sacks Hubbard, 7.5 for Dunlap. Definitely want to see more sacks from Carl Lawson, that's for sure. Gave him a brand new contract. 7 picks from William Jackson. Unreal. Yearly awards, MVP went to Patrick Mahomes. In the AFC Offensive Player of the Year went to Patrick Mahomes. Defensive Player of the Year went to TJ Watt. Joe Burrow is your Offensive Rookie of the Year. Defensive Rookie of the Year went to Patrick Queen. Troy Dye at 3. Jalen Johnson at 7. Uche at 10. Quarterback went to Brissett. Joe Mixon, the number 1 running back. William Jackson, everyone, DB. I would love one of those two. I would love to see a dev trade go to either one. Probably Jackson, because he got 7 picks. We know Madden, the algorithm's kind of bummed up when it comes to defensive backs. So I'm more so hoping that Joe Mixon can get that X factor off of winning running back of the year. So to kick off year 2, very early, immediate success with Joe Burrow here in Cincinnati. We're going to be taking on the 9-7 Buffalo Bills in the wild card round. All right, it's a snow game because it's Buffalo. We know that from the Buffalo Bills realistic rebuild. Don't matter, Joe Burrow, Ohio kid. He's used to this weather. I don't think he's going to be nervous. To get a 3-0 lead, Bills get the first touchdown, but we capitalize. We respond with a touchdown of our own. Very even matchup right now. And I like the way that we're able to go down the field right before the end of the first half and score a touchdown. We're playing well. We're getting third down conversions, and we're up 10 points. 4 points in the fourth quarter. Come on. Touchdown. This one's over. Touchdown on this one is, it's not actually quite over. I would love for it to be over, and it's going to be. We got a victory, an early Bengal rebuild, one of the worst teams, and we get a playoff victory in our second season. That's going to bode well for the job security. We do not want our coach getting fired. You look here, Joe Burrow outdueled Josh Allen, almost 100 yards on the ground from Joe Mixon, as the Cincinnati Bengals are moving on to the AFC divisional round. When was the last time they got a win? Bengals got a playoff win. We just kind of made history there. So in the next round, we're taking on the division-leading Pittsburgh Steelers. We're playing not terribly here, but definitely not bad. Our defense is bailing us out. Pittsburgh is going up and down the field, and our bend but don't break. It's only going to work for so long, man. We need the offense to bail us out with a touchdown here. Get us within a score. So we're down 10, and our defense just falls flat. Pittsburgh is on one this year. I don't know what they got going at quarterback. So we'll see in just a second. They still have Big Ben. They do still got Big Ben. Pretty evenly split between him and Joe Burrow. Obviously, Ben was a lot more accurate. I assume Burrow might have had a pick. He did have an interception. But hey, we got a playoff win in the first year of the Joe Burrow era. Expectations have definitely been exceeded. Now it's time to have another strong draft, have another strong free agency period, and retool for year 3. For free agency, okay. So here's where we're kind of looking at improving the team. Keanu Neal at strong safety. We need a new strong safety. We have signed Keanu Neal once before, but that was a long time ago. I think it was the Denver Broncos rebuild? New England Patriots rebuild, and it didn't work out. So hopefully it works out here. If he doesn't, I would not hate if Des King's still there. Try to sign him and move him to safety. But for right now, we're going to try and bring in Keanu Neal. This is the biggest upgrade, and it's our biggest position to need. Okay, so Keanu Neal did not want to come. So when I did check free agency, though, Desmond King was still there. So we're going to equal the bid of the Washington Redskins. Beautiful. We got Desmond King. We're going to be able to take him right away, slot him into one of the safety roles. He can play either way. General manager wants to talk about Billy Price's contract. And no, thank you. Don't want you on the hook for, I don't know what his 5th year option would be. $7-8 million minimum. So here we go to the roster. We're going to look Des King. I mean, he could just straight up play corner for us, but I think he's a 90 corner, and we move him to strong safety. I think he can play either safety. He's a 90, so he holds on to his value, and he is a slightly better player than Keanu Neal, even though he was also slightly more expensive. So take a look at our draft class. I don't know if that hypothesis that a bad offensive line makes your team better in a Madden sim, I just didn't like looking at it. So we went after and tried to improve the offensive line here in the draft. In the first round, we got Marquise Haynes, 74 hidden dev guard from Oklahoma. Now, not really a scheme fit, but he was definitely best player available. Second round, we got Josh Myers, the center from Ohio State, 72 hidden dev scheme fit as well. Should be able to come in and be a day 1 starter. Third round, we got Abraham Lucas, 68 locked out with another hidden dev lineman. Not a scheme fit, but I'll take the dev trade every day of the week. Probably can push Bobby Hart for that starting right tackle spot. So 3 starters on the offensive line. Pretty damn ridiculous. We got Patty Fisher, 67 linebacker. Ben Davis linebacker. Amari Burney linebacker. We got Max Duffy, maybe the best punter in college football. Now that Braden Mann is declared for the 2020 NFL Draft out of Kentucky, 68 overall. Should also be a starter for us. Year 3. And I think our team is very much improved. 80 overall. Looking at the offense. So we got Burrow as our superstar. Joe Mixon, because he was the running back of the year, actually went up a dev trait, which is a thing of beauty. Superstar X Factor. We got Boyd, John Ross, and Auden Tate will be our wide receivers. Offensive line is about to be all silver and or gold. When all is said and done between Myers, Hayes, and Lucas. Even though I'm fairly optimistic that all those guys are going to... Well, is it optimism? I'm assuming. I'll just say I'm assuming that all these guys are going to be stars and they're not superstars, but still that's good from where we were. When you flip to the defense, things are made about the same. No depth trade boost for William Jackson, even though he did get 7 interceptions last season. But between him, Johnson, Jalen Johnson, and Mackenzie Alexander, it's a solid secondary. We brought in Desmond King as our big money free agent signing, 90 overall strong safety. Our linebacking core is looking pretty damn solid. Troy Dye went up a dev trait at some point. That's cool. Anytime you get a young player that goes up a dev trait, you gotta be pretty happy with that. I think Jermaine Pratt too. He gets a lot of tackles. Sooner than later, he will be getting a dev trait. When you look at this team, right? What do we need? We need to get younger defensive tackle. Atkins and Dunlap are kind of old. That's about it. The rest of this team is plug and play for the next 4 or 5 years. Easy. So let's just keep on with the development, keep on winning, and hopefully there is no sophomore slump for Joseph Exotic Burrow. Year 3, bye, and we're 4-2, top place in the AFC North. Maybe we just got something special with the kid at LSU coming back to Ohio and going off. Looking at contracts, so we got Jesse Bates. I want to give him a 5-year deal. This was one hell of a pick. I loved when the Bengals drafted him into Wake Forest. I thought he was one of the most underrated players in the draft. We got Sam Hubbard, the star dev, superstar dev, defensive end. I'd like to get him locked up. Probably can move on from Dunlap. We committed, essentially, Auden Tate over A.J. Green, so I don't want to give up on his development just yet. Billy Price is an interesting one. I feel like he's going to be affordable, and he's already a scheme fit, so I probably will try and keep him if it's not going to be too expensive. But we definitely will come back to the table with Sam Hubbard, get him locked up long-term. Year 3 is coming on, and we find ourselves, yet again, not winning the division, but into the playoffs. 2 for 3, even though the first year doesn't really count. I'll take it. 9-7 here for the Bengals. Looking at the offensive line, we got all the silvers, as expected. Myers, hidden dev star. Hayes, hidden dev star. Lucas, hidden dev star. I don't think we had anything on the defense, but I'm still, it's still good. I think our offensive line's come along. We've gone up 3 over, maybe even 4 overall points since we started. Looking at the yearly stats here, Joe Burrow playing okay. Have yet to have really that breakout year. 3,700 yards, 28 touchdowns, 4 picks. Still playing good enough, but unfortunately he's playing like a good Eddie Dalton, and we needed him playing like an elite Joe Burrow. Joe Mixon has been outstanding so far in this rebuild. No dominant receiver, but 10 touchdowns for Auden Tate. Defensively, Jermaine Pratt, bunch of tackles. Might have played himself into a dev trade increase. I hope so. I'd love to get him up into a star. 8 sacks Atkins, 8 for Lawson, 7 for Dunlap. Acceptable numbers. I wouldn't want to see anything much lower than that. 4 picks, William Jackson. 11 picks in the last 2 years. Coming to ball hawk, one of the best ball hawking corners in the NFL. Yearly awards, Justin Fields of the Bears, is your MVP. Weird. Offensive player of the year is Lamar Jackson, Myles Garrett, Trevor Lawrence. We got Adam Anderson. I don't think we're going to see too many Cincinnati Bengals here this year. Our stats weren't that great. So, don't matter. Team success is there. We found ourselves into the playoffs. Can we get our second ever playoff win in the Zach Taylor era here against the 9-7 Jaguars? Let's find out. All right, at least it's not going to be in the snow. That's a positive. And we're going. We're going head-to-head against Gardner Minshew and the Jacksonville Jaguars. I don't even know if Minshew is a quarterback at this point. They could have Nick Foles still slinging that rock. Speaking of Nick Foles, I think we might do the Bears as our next rebuild. Just throwing that one out there. We are not having a good one right now, though. Down 11. Okay, there's just a lot of scoring going back and forth here. Defense taking a little bit of a break. Tied up at 31 apiece going to the fourth quarter with the divisional round on the line. We kick the field goal to go up 3 points. And we're going down the field right now. We can kill out the clock, kill off most of this game. But we've given them a $132 to be able to go down the field and win it. And they didn't have the intestinal fortitude with Minshew to go all the way down. Exceptional game from Joe Burrow. 3 touchdowns, 75% completion percentage, 121 yards from Joe Mixon. As the Bengals are moving on again, getting our second victory. Again, building on the job security for Zach Taylor. Okay, a rematch from we're back in the snow. We beat the Bills last year in the snow. Can we do it again to find ourselves in the AFC Championship game? Who knows? But we know Joe Burrow, this team can play well in the snow in the sim, which usually snow sim games are a complete crapshoot. As it's, hey, we got the first touchdown. It literally looks like if we get one more touchdown, this game's over. 17-3. Bills have not been able to muster anything that has yet to be a field goal. We have got 3 straight touchdown drives. This one is over, and the Bengals are going to be a win away from going to the Super Bowl. Just like that, making quick work of the Buffalo Bills. Great game from Joe Burrow, almost 300 yards, 2 touchdowns, almost 100 yards on the ground for Joe Mixon. It's balancing out right now. The Bengals are going to the AFC Championship game here in year 3 of the rebuild. And the Conference Championship game, it's a scary one. It's an 8-8 Chargers team. You never want to see that. You just never want to see that at any point in your life. You could have a 99 overall team. Everyone on your team's 99 overall. And you see an 8-8 Chargers team. You know what's going to happen. You know it's most likely going to be a whooping. So let's see what we can do here. We cut the lead down to 2 touchdowns. We get a late little instant tutty to cut it to 7. To over the second half where defense holds tight. If we can get a touchdown here, we can make it a game. It's a 1-score game in the 4th quarter. But our defense is tired. They're reeling. They're on the rails. They're on the ropes. And when we need a touchdown, we are struggling to find one. We still keep within 7. Defense get a stop. Too little, too late. It's what happens, man. You saw it's a death sentence. You see an 8-8 Chargers team. It is an absolute death sentence. Even though Joe Burrow couldn't have been any more accurate, we could not establish a run. And it's 8-8 Chargers, baby. It is what it is. Let's go to year 4. 4 free agents this year. We're actually going to kind of just stay on the outside. I feel like we can draft some of the positions that we need, and I need to keep our salary cap in-house because I think next year is going to get kind of expensive re-signing some of our younger players. Year 4 draft, here's how it looked. It was, it wasn't my best draft. I got a great value in the 6th round there. Eaton, the 70 tackle from Colorado State. Dev traits were not great. You got a 2nd round linebacker here, Isaac Gaines. Not really a scheme fit, more of a right side linebacker in our scheme. But hey, this guy could be good. We got Matthias Thomas from Kansas, 71 defensive tackle. Now, not really a scheme fit, but he was number 16 in true talent, which makes me believe if this draft class is terrible, that could be a superstar dev. So we need that to be. We need a guy that can fill in the shoes of Carlos Dunlap as well as be developed into the successor for Geno Atkins. I think Thomas definitely has some upside. And that, man, just an average draft class. 4, the Bengals up to an 85 overall. Joe Burrow mix in one of the better 1-2 backfields in the NFL. We got Boyd and Auden Tate at wide receiver. John Ross still hanging on. Would like to see him get a dev trade. A lot of silvers up front, which is good. Let them continue to develop. Thomas will start our 1st round pick at defensive tackle. Other than that, no changes along the defense. Would just definitely like to see Jermaine Pratt get a dev trade. And we are sadly seeing William Jackson, who does have 11 interceptions over the past 2 seasons, start to regress, which is kind of sad. But really, there's no weaknesses on this team, and I firmly expect him to compete for the playoffs yet again here in year 4. Year 4 bye, we're 4-3, which is not too bad, but man, almost feels like every year the AFC North has been really, really competitive here, and you can't really slip up. You're gonna need double-digit wins to get the playoffs here, which is always the norm, but I don't see any, sometimes you make it 7-8. I don't think that's going to be the case here anymore. It's just too competitive of a division. Look at that contract. So we got Geno Atkins. We don't have any replacements, and we have a whole lot of salary cap because we stayed out of free agency last year. So let's see what we get. We should be able to re-sign all of our targets. It was done by design. So let's give Jonah Williams a 5-year deal at tackle, franchise tackle. Drew Sample, it's been a pretty solid tight end. I will hold on to him until he's 30 if he takes that offer. Mackenzie Alexander, still, that's not awful value for a 1-year deal. A guy that's 28. I like Jermaine Pratt. He's been solid, even though it's been frustrating that we haven't been able to get him a dev trade just yet. I would like to keep him. Everyone else, they're just depth guys. We're going to let them walk here at this given point. We do have a little bit of coach XP to spend. I want to try to put it on the wide receiver so they continue to grow and develop. And there we go. Let's see if we can finish up the year and maybe squeak into the playoffs. Finish out year 4, we lost our last 3 games. It just wasn't good enough, man. Bottom dwellers, 7-9. That's not even a bad record. I'm not overly discouraged. Just, man, the AFC North has been a bunch of dogs. Looking at our team, we had the one dev trade on the D tackle. which emerged to just be a star, of course, but he's developing pretty nicely, already up to a 77 overall. We were able to re-sign all of our main targets. Looking at the stats here in year 4, we need better from Joe Burrow. These are definitely disappointing numbers for a guy that's already a 91 overall quarterback. He hasn't yet to get 30 touchdowns, I don't think. He hasn't gone over 30 yet. So, while not a bad year in the bunch, those are Andy Dalton numbers. And we need something a lot better. Joe Mixon continues to be really good. No dominant receivers. Jermaine Pratt, tackle machine. This might be good enough to finally get him that star dev trait. 9.5 sacks, 7.5 Troy Dye. Desmond King, 5 picks. Jesse Bates with 4. MVP, we'll just look at the MVPs. Mahomes, do we have anything for us? Don't think so. Ooh. Okay, we had best DB, Desmond King. I like seeing that. So there's something to hang our hats on, but absolute wash of a year in year 4. Let's gear up for year 5. Free agency again, not going to do anything crazy. We got that Joe Burrow contract coming up sooner than later, but I am going to bid here on N'Keal Harry, who is a scheme fit physical 83 wide receiver. Should come in and complement maybe a little bit better than what John Ross was bringing to the offense. Okay, get the mic back here. I just had my kid come in, terrorize, and make a pick for me. Auto-picked, and it was actually really good. I don't know if it went off my short list or not, but here we go. Here's our final draft recap of the episode. The first round, we got Justin Keaton, corner from Notre Dame, 76, hidden dev trait, almost a scheme fit. This guy actually looks really, really damn good. Second round, we got Shaq Frederick, 76, hidden dev, outside linebacker from South Carolina, speed rusher, 82 finesse move, great athleticism. I like the look of it. Third round, my kid made this pick. I got a 75 tight end. Almost a scheme fit. Didn't need one. He made this auto pick. Cause that's the thing. I didn't even have him shortlisted. I wanted. I got a little tease. I got a little ticked off. Let's be honest. If you're a parent right now, I know you feel, but it worked out well because I wanted this guy. I wanted Clay Goodman, who's a 75 hidden dev lineman with a star dev trait. If it was superstar, I wouldn't be pretty mad because our tight end that we ended up getting anyways is a normal. But all in all, it was a solid pick. But kid, he got it. It's genetics. It's genetics when it comes down to it. We got 269 linemen to round out the draft. But really, really good draft here for the final year of part 1 of the Cincinnati Bengals Madden 20 realistic rebuild. That's how things are going to line up for our final year of part 1. We're at 86 overall. Really good offense. Almost 90 overall offense. Joe Burrow's into the 90s. Joe Mixon, one of the best running backs in the NFL. Offensive line is incredibly well-rounded. Brought in N'Keal Harry in free agency. Defensively, going to shuffle things around here a little bit. Troy Dye has been not really that great, so we're going to substitute him to middle linebacker with behind Pratt. Just solid depth, solid competition. We're going to have Frederick and Uche as our outside linebackers. Thomas is stepping up as it is a big transitionary year for our defensive line. No more Geno Atkins, no more Carlos Dunlap. We're going to bump Keaton up here just a little bit. And, I feel, we'll bounce back. We're going to bounce back and make it competitive and at least make the playoffs here in year 5. I can feel it in my plums. For the bye, there's something. We got 2 wins, and our 3 losses were against teams that had 0 or 1 win when we played them. Feels kind of annoying. We have another breakout scenario for the tight end here, Drew Sample, who is... If we hit this dev trade, it's just going to be through the sim. He's probably developed more than any player on this channel here at Madden 20. Look at a contract. This is where things get a little tough. Okay, Uche's actually played very well for his contracts. Usually top 5 in the team in sacks, so we'll give him a new one. I think Jalen Johnson's a guy we can continue to build around in that secondary. William Jackson's been so damn good. I'll give him a 1 year if he'll take it. We'll actually renegotiate. The fact that he's been a pick machine. Now, the question comes, John Ross has not performed. None of our wide receivers have performed, but we can't let them all go. I feel like, I don't know. Honestly, we're going to wait and see. Because it's one of those things, that is the biggest, not mistake, but the biggest thing I'm guilty of is I will just look at the rating and be like, oh, he's 83, let's give him pay. Oh, he's 87 star, let's give him pay. None of these guys are playing well. John Ross has yet to go over 1,000 yards. Tyler Boyd has yet to go over. Look at his stats as we've come in here. Okay, technically you got 1,000 yards in year 1, right? 600, 800, 800. Touchdowns aren't bad. Like, those are wide receiver. Those are average wide receiver 2 numbers. Okay? And he wants to get paid like a wide receiver 1. John Ross. Let's see what John Ross is. He's been playing in the slot, benefit of the doubt. But John Ross. Again, like we got 2 wide receiver 2s. John Ross is the only guy that's looking for a contract that's legit of a wide receiver 2. And then with that 1-year age difference, John Ross could probably be an 85. I don't know. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make Tyler Boyd. We're going to fix it. We're going to put him in the slot. He's a slot wide receiver, right? So we're going to go in and we're just going to see how he finishes out the year. If we have to pay a little bit more when all is said and done, so be it. But we're going to put Boyd in the slot. We're going to give him more than enough games. If he can get 1,000 yards on this squad, I'll resign Tyler Boyd. But with the signing of N'Keal Harry in free agency, we can't sign both. So let's see what Tyler Boyd can do. Can he play himself into a new contract? Can he play this Bengals team into a playoff spot here in year 5? And year 5. We end year 5. Not great. 7-9. Not bottom dwellers in the North, but not good, man. And I'm fully prepared to see another disappointing average season from Joe Burrow. Yep. We gotta change scheme up or something. He's a 92 superstar, yet he's the worst starting quarterback in the National Football League. Joe Mixon's good. Tyler Boyd not getting a new contract. John Ross not getting a new contract. Jermaine Pratt played well. Uche 8 sacks, a couple picks here. I mean, let's see what we can do. Coach, schemes, multiple zone run, not getting the job done. Even though we have no schemes whatsoever for this team. But what we're going to do here, Joe Burrow succeeded in one scheme. And that is essentially the same scheme that he ran. Maybe we'll give him a better playbook. Because it was the New Orleans playbook, right? Joe Brady went from New Orleans to LSU, had a breakout year with Joe Burrow. We'll try that, because right now, man, Joe Burrow literally just had, like, the worst season ever. That statistically might go up with the worst single quarterback season we've had in the realistic rebuilds that we've been doing here. That's phenomenal. When you have the number 1 overall pick, Joe Burrow, the man that you're putting in the thumbnail, is going to bring people in because they want to see how Joe Burrow is going to play with the Cincinnati Bengals, and he's playing like absolute dog shit. Even though our team's really good. So that's where we're at here at the end. We got 2 playoff wins. No idea where Zach Taylor's job security's at, but, I mean, a playoff win for the Cincinnati Bengals at this point for their fan base is almost as good as the Super Bowl. We got 2 of them. But everything's still left to play for the second part 2 of this video. I don't know. We'll be back probably Saturday, bringing that to maybe even a little bit earlier. I don't know how the videos are going to shape up. But that does it for me today, guys. Thank you for watching. As always, first time stopping by, don't be afraid to hit that subscribe button. Smash the like button if you enjoyed. If you got a suggestion of an offense you want to see us try out to maybe salvage Joe Burrow, let me know in the comment section below. And until next time, it's C4 saying peace out.
Money I'm spending, I'm out and I'm shopping. You talking that shit when you talking and talking. Look at my options, look at me dropping. Ass in the game, like who are you stopping? Not me, not me, not never. Not me, not me, not never. Not me, not me, not never. I'm way too clever. Look at the kid, Mr. Consistent, I'm doing it big. Way too persistent on taking your bitch. Here comes